this other kinds of small things. They're just cheap drones being fired off at random nations there. If anything, they continue to isolate themselves. If anything, you could see like a good opportunity to now move them more towards Abraham Accords. There are these small things, but where is all of things beyond those small kinds of things? Overall, Iran has been effectively degraded in a way where they really have limited, if any, capabilities at this point.
Senator, why should Congress assert its constitutional role and actually vote to declare war the way it did with Iraq and Afghanistan?
The last war we've actually declared was World War II.
No, Iraq and Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Okay, so for me right now, what is it now? The War Powers Resolution, 60 days, and we're 100 hours into this. Now, what's at this point? Yeah, and also, I want to say on this, it's like, we can't keep our government open. We've shut it down for 45 days, and now the entire DH thing is shut down. We can't even maintain our core responsibilities to keep our government open. It's so right now.
Senator, would you change your position on war powers in terms of a ground invasion into Iran?
What? No, I'm saying it's like this is.
Should the U.S. have done more to protect Americans who are now stranded abroad? Israel received a warning on Friday before this attack for an authorized departure there, but there are many Americans in other countries now without.
Anything else?
Senator, do Americans have anything to be concerned about with regard to retaliation here domestically themselves? That we need to worry about anything?
I don't have any specific kinds of intelligence on that, of course, but our DHS system is shut down, so that's probably not great timing for that. And again, I'm the only Democrat that votes that's wrong to do that. Yeah, we all want to make some changes on ICE, but we all know that won't have any impact what they've done, and now it's shut down.
Do you support regime change inside Iran?
What?
Do you support regime change inside Iran by President Trump?
Well, I thought that's part of, a regime change. It's like the top 55 of them were killed, and I think they just blew up 80 of the random mullahs, too. Which, that was pretty great, actually. So, all right.
Senator, administration officials concluded to...
Wait a second. This is the short person's view of the war. So the briefing was very informative. I feel like this administration has been as transparent as you possibly can be without compromising war plans, so I want to congratulate them in terms of keeping us informed. My takeaway, quite frankly, is the Iranians have a strategy of trying to create regional chaos, to shut down airports, hit hotels, drive up economic cost, to see if the region will break and sue for peace. I've been on the phone all day with our Arab allies, and quite the opposite is unfolding. So I'm here to tell you the good news for me is I think the regional partners, the Arab partners, are going to be more involved, not less. They're not going to break. They're going to get in the fight in a more direct way. And Iran made a major miscalculation by attacking Kuwait and Qatar and Saudi Arabia. The countries now are more intent than ever to end the threat forever. So what I see in the coming days is more capability directed at the regime that's non-American, more planes flying that are non-Americans, more missile capability brought to the fight by our allies. So the ability to inflict harm on the regime is going to increase, not just because we're more committed to ending this, because we're going to have more partners to do that. Now, so what's the goal here? The goal is to make sure that when this is over, this regime cannot build ballistic missiles to hit America or terrorize the region. That when this conflict is over, they cannot continue to support Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis, the terrorist network, and they can never go back in the nuclear business. One of the things that really got President Trump going the most was after Midnight Hammer, we found that they were trying to regenerate their nuclear program. After basically months of negotiation, it was pretty clear that they're wedded to the capability they need to inflict terror, that the regime's goal is always to inflict terror and to push their religious agenda through force. And the missile buildup is designed to give them immunity in terms of developing their nuclear program. If we waited much longer, they're doing 100 a month. The idea of imminent threat to me is an odd thing. Who wants to let a homicidal maniac be able to get to the imminent stage of hurting you? If somebody is threatening my family, wants to rape your wife and burn down your house and kill your children, I don't want to wait till they get to the gun store and the gas station. Since 1979, this regime has been dedicated to chaos through their religious agenda. In 1983, 220 Marines were killed by Hezbollah in Lebanon, 18 sailors, 100 injured. Roadside bombs coming out of Iran have maimed and killed hundreds, if not thousands, of Americans. They mean it when they say death to America. I'm glad we didn't let it go further. I'm glad we didn't let them build more missiles. I'm glad we didn't let them regenerate after Midnight Hammer. So the idea that you're going to let a homicidal maniac get to the imminent stage, to me, is misplaced. So I've never felt better about how this ends. It's not if they fall, it's when they fall. It's not us alone, it's us with the region. Europe is now getting into the game. So I want to compliment President Trump for starting something that the world is now gravitating to. This regime is in its death throes. The amount of firepower coming in the next day or two from us is going to be overwhelming. And when you add to the mix the Arab capability, then it's going to be overwhelming. The demise of this regime is at hand, and the goal is to make sure they can never be a threat like they were before.
How do you know that the next regime that may come in may not be more hardline than the last regime?
I don't think 32,000 people went to their death to be hard-ass. That's really offensive to the people in the street, that they want a country that's more crazy. Why are they in the street? They don't like living under the Ayatollah. These people are not facing guns without arms because they like what's going on. To think that the protesters want more Ayatollah is really offensive to them. Here's what's going to happen. Just wait a minute. The idea of the Ayatollah being our friend is zero. The idea of the Ayatollah giving up his nuclear ambitions were zero. He's a religious fanatic. You could say that about Hitler. I bet somebody asked in 1935, what happened if we killed Hitler? God, I wish we'd have known. It will only get better. Now, what happens is up to the Iranian people. Not me, not anybody here. They have a chance to take their country back if this regime falls. And I think they want it back in a different way. The idea that these people would want the same thing after sacrificing really is short-sighted. It's offensive to them. So, to the world, to Europe, get behind the protesters. They're your best chance to have a stable Iran. They're not going to repeat the mistakes of the past, I don't believe. But if they do, we'll do what we did in the past. We'll deal with the threat. So the idea that you, like taking Hitler out, if somebody asked that in 1935 and say, let's don't do it, boy, was that a big mistake. It would be a big mistake to let this regime continue to march toward a nuclear weapon, to build more missiles. So the regime is going to fall, and what follows will be up to the Iranian people, and I think it's going to be better. And the biggest prize of all is that when they fall, I talked to Saudi Arabia today, when this regime collapses, there will be a sprint toward normalization. Bibi said last night that he wants to work with Saudi Arabia to take up where they left off under President Biden, and I want to give them credit for trying to expand the Abraham Accords to Saudi Israel, which is the biggest prize of all. So this regime is going to collapse. It's not if, it's when. And when that happens, there'll be a gateway to peace that no one ever envisioned. So President Trump, I'm glad you did it when you did it. If we waited much longer, we'd have a bigger threat on our hands, and we're on the verge of a new dawn.
Senator Grant, is there a need at any point for Congress to take a vote or have any role here?
Absolutely. Here's what I think. Normalization will require Congress. NBS wants a treaty of the United States. Well, that requires 67 votes. There may be a supplemental coming. I think there will be a supplemental. We'll have to approve that. Now, let me tell you, I've been a military lawyer most of my adult life. The War Powers Act has been viewed as unconstitutional by every president, Republican, Democrat, since its passage. Why? Because it says after 60 days of combat operations, military operations, they must terminate unless Congress approves. You're shifting the power from the commander-in-chief to the Congress. If we don't like a military operation, we can cut off funding. But the War Powers Act is an unconstitutional shift of authority from the president, and it would create 535 commander-in-chiefs. It's going to fail tomorrow. Now, if you want to have a vote as to whether or not you approve this operation without a War Powers Act, that's fine with me. I don't mind people being on record as to whether or not they think this is a good idea. I do mind Congress becoming the commander-in-chief.
Senator, it's critical after Benghazi, after the Afghanistan withdrawal. There are thousands of Americans stuck in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Do you think the administration is doing enough to make sure they get
Yes,
out?
Marco's doing a good job. Here's who you contact to get out. We're trying to send flights in. You pay now or you pay later. If they get a nuclear weapon, they would use it. They keep trying no matter what we do. Why? Because they want a nuclear weapon to enact their agenda. They want to purify Islam. They want to destroy Saudi Arabian Sunni Islam and then replace it with Shia Islam. That's what they say, not what I say. They've been building ballistic missiles at a rate that is just stunning. They killed 32,000 plus of their people who've been protesting, and they support Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. One thing to President Trump, in case you're watching. In 1983, Ronald Reagan sent Marines and sailors to try to police and deal with the Lebanese civil war. They were at the end of the runway. Hezbollah attacked the Marine barracks, killed 220 Marines, 18 sailors, and wounded 100 others. Ronald Reagan, who I admire and love, withdrew and never did anything about it. So I'm calling on President Trump today. Join Israel to attack Hezbollah. Avenge the Marines. America never forgets. Those 220 Marines and 18 sailors' families, we want to go after the infrastructure that killed your loved ones. They're IRGC assets in Beirut as I speak. President Trump, come up with a new operation called Simplify. Fly with Israel and go after Hezbollah, who has American blood on its hands. Not only take the mothership of Iran down, also take the proxy of Hezbollah, settle the score, even the account.
Senator, what is your best assessment of what the timeline looks like now?
I feel that's a good question.
And then also, how are we not going to be drawn into a larger ground operation?
There is no reason right now to use troops, but if we need them, the goal is victory. Listen to this. Donald Trump is seeking victory against the Iranian regime. Who's going to win a war between the Iranian regime and the United States? We are. We're going to win this conflict. We have Arab partners today that we didn't have yesterday. So this is going to end with us winning and the Ayatollah's regime going down. What happens next is up to the Iranian people. So what I would tell the American people, pull for victory. Hope that this works well. Pull for the idea the Iranian people can live without the Ayatollah, that they can be a new Iran emerges from the ashes of this regime. It would be a good thing for the world. At the end of the day, the region is committed to seeing it through. Iran is trying to break their will. It has backfired. So the timetable is shifted. I think the demise of the regime is far more likely to come quicker today than it was yesterday because we have more partners today.
Are we days, weeks?
I don't know. You need to ask the military people. And, you know, in World War II, they didn't ask how long would it take. They said, we're going to go to Berlin, we're going to go to Tokyo, we're going to protect our life. See, what you got to understand, that the regime in Iran would kill everybody in this room if they could. It's not about Republicans or Democrats. It's about Americans. They're religious fanatics. They want to kill all the Jews. They want to destroy Sunni Islam. They want to come after us. So we need to have the approach to this like we did in World War II. This is a terrible mothership of terrorism regime that's killed Americans since 1979, terrorized the region, and it's on the verge of collapse. And I want to congratulate Donald Trump and his team for putting together the most impressive military plan I have ever seen. What's coming in the coming days from us is going to be a lot bigger than it's been in the last couple of days. The Arabs are in the fight now, so stay tuned. What's coming toward the remnants of the regime is going to be overwhelming. The liberation of Iran is at hand. The gateway to peace is about to open. things that I've been working on with President Biden can now materialize. The biggest prize in the region would be to end the Arab-Israeli conflict. That will never happen as long as Iran is around. October the 7th was designed to stop what President Biden and I were trying to do, build on the Abraham Accords. Iran's worst nightmare is the Arabs and the Israelis make peace because they're not a peace-loving people. It's a cult of death. We're going to take up where we left off when this regime collapses. And I think the biggest prize of all from taking the regime down is that those who want to make peace in the region will be able to do it without being threatened by the mothership of terrorism.
Senator, who were the three?
I don't know if there's anything left to be said.
There is.
He covered that.
Can I ask?
Yes.
Who were the three candidates who the president had in mind as possible leaders of Iran? Did they know that they were candidates for this? Had he communicated with them? And how did they wind up getting killed in the offensive?
I'm not going to get to specifics because some of that was classified, but I know there was some communications with hopeful, possible individuals that we could have a relationship with, and I wouldn't say that, not all of them are still kicking. I would say that maybe there might be some, but some of that's classified.
How did that happen?
Sometimes you're at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Are there measures
Yes.
being taken not to eliminate other possible alternatives to leadership?
This is war, and we're taking out the threat. And if you're part of the threat, then you're a target.
How did the administration describe the end game here?
Well, I think they laid out a very precise of what the threat looks like, and we're going to continue to be in the fight until they can no longer threaten the United States like they have for 47 years. Keep in mind, 7 presidents has passed on this opportunity. This threat's been around since November of 1979 when Jimmy Carter was in office. They attacked us as late as through their proxies or directly as late as June of 2025. They've killed thousands or injured thousands of Americans for 47 years. As long as the threat is still there, we're going to continue to be going after them.
Given that this could be a sustained campaign and that American service members are being killed, why didn't Congress vote to declare war? Your constitutional authority to declare war. Why didn't you do that?
Let me ask you, why didn't the Democrats that's asking this same question demand that Barack Obama do that in 2016 when he bombed 6 countries and dropped 26,000 bombs from Syria to Pakistan? I'm talking about the same situation. The president under Article 2 has broad authorities to keep Americans' interests safe home and abroad. There's no question, not one of you guys can question the fact that they haven't killed through proxies or injured through proxies thousands of Americans for 47 years. This was a threat that no other president was willing to stand up against and eliminate like President Trump. So thank God he's finally got that back.
Senator, the White House said.
Senator Murray, after leaving upstairs with Democrats, said, "I've heard 5 different rationales and objectives about this war."
Who said this?
Senator Murray.
Chris Murphy? Or Murray?
No, Murray.
Murray.
Patty Murray.
Patty Murray, yeah.
What is your understanding of the objective here?
I don't remember her asking a question while I was there, so I think the objective was pretty laid out. They want to make sure that the ability for them to strike us anywhere at any time is gone. No way they'll be able to make a nuclear weapon or enrich uranium again to take out their navy so they can't disrupt commerce in the shipping lanes. And to take out their ability to restock and rebuild their missiles and drones. That's the objective here. We're going to eliminate the threat that's been threatening us for 47 years. And today's a weaker Iran than it has been in probably a decade. If we would have waited another year, this picture could look totally different, completely different. And so the opportunity and the timing was right, and we have a president in the office that had the backbone to do it.
Senator, do you have any concerns about this Iran operation? Any at all?
No. Listen, what my concern is that we have lost thousands of individuals over 47 years, and we haven't done anything about it. This threat was not going away. I don't think anybody can argue that this regime needed to be removed. And what we have done now for the Iranian people is give them a choice. We gave them a choice to say, we want our country back. We want to go back to the country that we had prior to the Ayatollah in 1979. We want to go back to the country where we had women in the workplace, in the professional workplace. We want to go back to the era when we could have women elected to public office, go back to where the great riches that live in Iranian soil will be able to be shared with the mass people there, not just used to sponsor terror around the world. And so we're giving the Iranian people an opportunity to get their country back. At the same time, we're eliminating the threat that's been threatening the United States.
Senator, if Iran,
over here.
You mentioned the objectives. Did they give you a sense of how long it would take to meet those objectives?
No. Well,
They didn't give
yes,
you a timeline
but
at
I'm
all.
not going to talk about a timeline.
Senator,
Senator,
if
if
Iran-
this won't be a drawn-out conflict, that American boots won't be needed on the ground, or do you believe they could be needed?
We're not eliminating the options. We're going to continue to do whatever we can to eliminate this threat to the United States.
Senator, if Iran posts
I know. I got you a bunch of times. Let me get the people who haven't asked a question. Yeah, I go here and then I'll go there.
Is there
Yes.
any point at which you feel like Congress should take a vote on this? Like, if you do support the operation, and you know, why not vote to authorize force like we did in Iraq and Afghanistan?
I think that can be debatable, but we're not going to take away the authority of the President of the United States to be able to be the Commander-in-Chief and keep Americans' interest safe. That's the role of the Commander-in-Chief. We don't need 535 Commander-in-Chiefs. The Commander-in-Chief is the President of the United States, and he has a duty in Article 2 to be able to protect American interest, and he is initiating that, and he is doing that with great authority and great effect. Yes.
Senator, there have been significant concerns about munition stockpiles. Senator Graham just talked about larger strikes over the next 2 days. Are there enough munitions for the next 2 days?
I will tell you that on the briefing of that, we are in good shape. That's what they said. We're in good shape. I don't know where that came from, because you've never heard this administration. You haven't heard the Joint Chiefs. You haven't heard anybody bring up that concern. So that's some concern that's been planted by some, either unrational individual or left media that's throwing that out. We are in great shape. The president has everything at his disposal to be able to do what we need to do, and we'll continue to do so. Yes.
Senator, you talked about giving the Iranian people the choice, but are you confident that enough of the regime and its infrastructure has been taken out in order to get the power back forward?
I said this from the very push-go. My very first interview I did once this conflict started is that we're not fighting the war for the Iranian people. We're giving them an opportunity to fight their war. If they want to take back the country, they can do that. What we're doing is eliminating and weakening this administration or this regime, and then it's up to the rest of it. That's up to the Iranian people. This wasn't about regime change. If this was about regime change, we would have taken them out during the 12-day war. The president made it very clear, we know where you're at, and we could take you out if we chose to. We gave diplomacy an option, and diplomacy didn't work. Yes.
Iranian people are watching you. What is your message to them?
This is your time. This is your time. This is your country. You have a great country. We're not at war with you. We actually love you. You have an opportunity to get back to the country you used to have, and we want that relationship with you. We actually desire that relationship, to have that relationship we had prior to 1979, but it's up to you. This is your time. It's on your shoulders to win back your country.
Senator, what is the plan for the nuclear sites? We've seen mostly conventional military sites.
Well, I mean, we'd obliterated that during the 12-day war, but we know they were trying to rebuild it. We will not leave until we neutralize any threat that could possibly come back from the Iranian regime. God forbid they're still in office. All right?
How challenging will it be to get at those ballistic?
Yes.
Thank you. Administration underestimated the Iranian response, given that there was a scramble.
No, we didn't underestimate anything.
Do you think that the administration should have done more before this to evacuate Americans or give Americans that?
We did everything we needed to do. We were very strategic on understanding what their possibilities are and what their capabilities were, and we have completely overwhelmed it. We have complete air supremacy. We've taken over their ability to fight back. We knew that they had what they called the Nazar plan in place, where they had predetermined targets, which we call the death switch. Where they're continuing to shoot at targets that they have as long as the munitions are there. We've also seen that their capability to launch has greatly diminished because we've been going after what we'd call not all the arrows, but going after the archers.
Senator, did we talk about? You'll concede this is war.
We haven't declared war. They declared war on us, but we haven't.
Secretary Hexel.
We haven't declared.
Now you said this is war.
They called it war. What I was saying, okay, well that was a misspoke. What I was saying that they declared war on us, but war is ugly. It always has been ugly. But we're taking out a regime that's been trying to attack us for quite some time.
But you're not conceding this is war.
We have declared war. So if we haven't declared war, then I don't see that. The president hasn't asked us to declare war yet. But they have declared war on us. We're just simply fighting the threat that's been at our door for 47 years.
Do you believe that ask could be coming, an ask from the president to declare war?
I don't know if that's necessary, because, as I said, we're not at war with the Iranian people. I made that very clear just a while ago when I was asked to talk directly to the Iranian people. I said, we're not at war with you. We are done fighting against this murderous regime that's been nipping at our heels for 47 years and killing thousands.